the laptop's making that noise because it's sort of overheating, I think. So I'm gonna try my best to reduce that in the background noise when I edit this video, but I'm sure you can still hear that like somewhere in there. Hello everybody, it's Charlie and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today I'm going to be doing a video which is me reacting to my first ever dental video that I posted and seeing if my opinions are the same or like how truthful it was. The reason I'm doing this video is because I have absolutely no idea what to post anymore. So if you guys have some ideas of what you'd like to see, I can't think of anything that has been asked that I haven't done yet. The only thing that I won't do is a video on ROE because I don't know it. I didn't do it in college, so I honestly have no idea what it is and what I would be talking about. So that's pretty much the only thing that I wouldn't do. But anything else, if you suggest it and I feel like it's something I can do or I can talk about, so yeah, please give me some ideas for that. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. I'm just going to get straight on with this reaction video. I hope you enjoy it, and if you haven't seen my very first dental video, then I will leave a link in the description below so you can go and check it out. But obviously most of that video is going to be in this video anyway. Let's just get straight on with this video. If you would like to see me reacting and comparing notes from my first dental video, then just keep watching. So as you can tell, I've moved to the end of the screen again just so that I can pop the video up here for you all to see. So this video is titled "The Truth About Being a Dental Nurse." Hey guys, it's Charlie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a different type of video for you, and it's going to be the truth about being a dental nurse. Just have to comment, I'm glad that's not my intro anymore or my social pop-up anymore. I really like my hair in this video though. Obviously, as you can tell, it's not quite the same now. I was also pretty tanned in that video. I believe we'd not long come back from America, so that's why. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking and start watching and shut up. For those of you that don't know, I work as a dental nurse. I've been in the job now for it will be 4 years this coming September. So if you're interested in seeing that video and hearing about my experience with being a dental nurse, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to do this in like different categories. So the first one is going to be the gross things. So whenever somebody asks me what is the worst thing about your job, one thing mainly comes to mind, and this probably isn't the worst part. I'd really have to think about that, but it's definitely one that always sticks in my mind, and it is at the end of the day when you have to clean out the spittoon. Now the spittoon is the little sink next to the chair that you spit in, and at the end of the day we have to pick that filter up and put it in some bleach. Now that might not sound too bad, but that's something that still sticks out to me as one of the grossest things. That horrible spittoon filter. I don't know whether I say it in this video, but it's like when you crack an egg and you get all that goopy stuff come out. That is what it looks like on the end of that filter. You know when you crack an egg and all that gooey clear stuff comes out? That is what the filter looks like when you lift it up. And that is everybody's spit all stuck to it. I have figured out a way to reduce it and make it not be so thick and stringy. So what I normally do is throughout the day is put the tap on really hot and do about 4 or 5 cupfuls of hot water and pour that down the spittoon, and it kind of breaks up all that saliva that's in there. It's disgusting, I know. I still do that, if anybody's wondering, and it was in a tip video of mine. Can't remember exactly which one it is, but I do still turn the hot tap on and pour it down the sink because it definitely reduces that saliva buildup. Don't know how, don't know what the science behind it is, but it works. So sometimes when you're like suctioning somebody's mouth, bits flick up, and you're not allowed to wear long sleeves in a clinical area because actually, I don't know why. I'm gonna have to Google that, hang on a second. The fact that I didn't know why you weren't allowed to wear long sleeves in a clinical area, that's not great for a dental nurse who talks about it openly on YouTube not to know. Right, I've got it, and I should have known this before because now I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, So it's basically so that you can do like a clinical scrub on yourself when you wash your hands. You should be going up your arms as well. And obviously with long sleeves on, you can't do that. So they need to be short sleeve tunics is what most dental practices wear. So going back to the gross thing is when bits flick up, sometimes they land on your arm. And this is really disgusting. So sometimes it could be blood, which is minging. Sometimes it might be a bit of old filling. Sometimes it might be a bit of tooth. And sometimes it might be a bit of food or plaque. That is just so gross, because
that's still really gross to me. All that stuff flying around and landing on your arm is just horrible. That is actually really gross when you think about it. That all that stuff in somebody's mouth is on your arm.
The time you see it like flick out as well, and then it just goes plop, and you're there like, you can't say anything or do anything because you're suctioning this patient's mouth.
I believe that was also in one of my videos, things I don't like about being a dental nurse, or things I wish I knew about being a dental nurse. It was in one of those 2 videos.
You can't help but look at it either, so you're like, it's on my arm, it's on my arm, it's on my arm. And you feel like you're just never clean afterwards. It doesn't matter how many times you try and scrub that area or disinfect it, you just don't feel clean. And even after a shower, you still feel like it's partly on you. A lot of the time as well, the stuff that flicks up is actually when the dentist uses that water spray. And if it's on a lot of them are hard jets as well. So it will hit the tooth and then like spray back, and you do get shower water, but you know it's not just water.
That's also one of the reasons why dental nursing is classed as the job at most risk of contracting COVID-19, is because of all that stuff that sprays onto you and the aerosols. It's everywhere and it will touch you and it will go on you. And I think that is why we are at the highest risk of actually contracting COVID-19, which is why dental practices cannot open at the minute.
This next one for another gross thing is like there's certain sounds that just again make your jaws, you know when like you eat a sour sweet and your whole face goes like,
I remember what's coming and it still makes me go all the time.
That is kind of what happens when you hear certain like sounds in the practice. So one of them is when you get like a really salivary patient and the dentist says, can you suction? You know you're not going to suction the water out of their drill because they haven't used it. You're going to be sucking like pure saliva. And the sound that it makes is like a, it probably doesn't sound that gross telling you about it, but you can like feel stuff got the suction as well. And it's that sound of that like, and then you feel it pass through the suction and down the tube, and it's just, I hate it. It's really disgusting. I hate it. So the next one is the sludge drum. And what the sludge drum is
I feel like the sludge drum I don't talk about enough. You'll obviously know what it is in a second when I explain it. But the sludge drum is definitely something that is pretty gross about the job. So if you don't know what a sludge drum is, you're about to find out. If you do know what a sludge drum is, I'm sure that you can sympathise with me on this one.
Like a bin, and it's full up with all the crap stuff that's collected through the suction and is too big to go kind of through the filter, and it all collects in like its own little filter. And at the end of the day, you have to...
Cheeky little email there from Netflix, sorry about that.
This filter out and like bang it into the drum to get all the bits off. It smells disgusting. It looks disgusting, and if something falls onto your hand, even though you wear gloves, it's just gross. So I'm going to move on to the next section now, because like
the sludge drum, just in case you didn't get it from that, most of it is amalgam stuff in there. So all those amalgam chips and old fillings and just gross bits that can't go through a filter, but it all collects. And then you have to put it in the bin manually. Well, in the sludge drum bin, not in the normal clinical bin. It's making my mouth go really weird. It's just horrible.
I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to go on to the best bits about this job. So one of the things that I like most about my job is that sometimes, not all the time, you will get a really, really nice patient, and that makes your day so much better. The amount of people that are actually really horrible to you, not staff, I mean patients, like, sometimes you can't believe how rude they are. So when you get a nice person, it makes your day, it makes your week sometimes.
This is definitely still true, and especially for those patients that remember you. I love that. You know, when they come in, you remember them and they remember you, and you can just have a nice conversation with them. So I still completely agree with this. This is one of the best bits about dental nursing, and learning things and them sharing their stories. I still really enjoy that.
And that's one of the best things about the job, is that when you can engage with a really nice patient, and a lot of the time they'll be elderly and they'll be telling you stories about their life, and it's really interesting, and you can talk to them and you can have a conversation with them and just enjoy their stories. You give them the best service you can. Like with every patient, you give them the best service you can. But when it's someone that's really nice to you, you feel like you give them that extra bit more. So
I do feel like I go kind of the extra mile for people that are really nice for me. And I'm pretty sure I'm just about to say, always be nice to the reception team or the dental nurse team or your dentist. It goes a long way, trust me. Even just a smile, even just a laugh, it goes a long way.
To your dentists and dental nurses and your dental receptionists. Another thing that's quite nice about my job is that when you give somebody like the smile that they want, they are so thankful for it, and you can see how grateful they are, and that's a really rewarding thing. Another great thing, and this doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it just makes you feel so much better about yourself, and that's when somebody, like a patient, will ask you for your name, and they will make a point of either emailing the practice or sending a letter or doing something.
I never get that anymore. Not because I'm not nice to them. It doesn't happen often enough. Just not enough people extend their gratitude, and we don't expect it. I've had a few experiences. In fact, one last year just before Christmas, and I actually phoned a shop to express my gratitude, to say how thankful I was to this particular person which served me. If you've had a positive experience somewhere, especially with a person in particular, take the time to go to that company and thank them, because I promise it goes such a long way.
And the last thing that I'm going to say that I really love about my job is that when we get small children in, a lot of the time they are scared of the dentist, which is understandable. I used to be petrified when I was a kid.
Just realised that smile made me look really creepy then. I'm pretty sure I remember what I'm going to say, but it still applies now. I love kids. I really, really like kids. It's so nice when they come in. They're kind of like a breath of fresh air if they're not really naughty. Generally, the kids are so lovely, and you can chat to them and they're interested in what you're doing, and I just love that. And I love almost like being a role model to children. I think it's really great, and you can make their dental experience so much better, because a lot of them are scared and they're frightened and they don't know how to handle the situation. But if they've got somebody in there that's saying, do you want to hold this? Do you want to see what we do? Do you want to understand it? I think it makes their experience so much better.
Can talk to them, and most of the time they will calm down and they will see that you're just there to help them. And I like trying to help them and teaching them things, or like I'll kneel down with them and I'll say, can you put the special glasses on? And that makes them think they're special because they're getting the special glasses. Just little things like that. So now I'm going to move on to the worst bits about being a dental nurse.
I'm interested to see how the worst bits compare, because I feel like a lot of them are going to be similar to bits that I don't like or wish I knew about dental nursing.
Definitely number one is how rude some of the patients can be towards you personally. Even if they say, I'm not blaming you, but they're like shouting at you at that time, so you do feel personally attacked by them. That's definitely the worst thing for me anyway, is being like personally targeted, to be shouted at sometimes. They're just rude, but it's just not nice being personally.
It's really horrible when you're personally attacked. And like I've just mentioned in that video, a lot of the time they will say, I know it's not your fault, but that doesn't particularly help because they're still shouting at you and you feel like they are completely taking it out on you, and it's just not very nice to have that.
It's really busy most of the time, and it's good to be busy, but people tend to think that you see one patient, then you have like a 20-minute break, and then you see another patient, then you have another break. It doesn't work like that. You are back to back constantly. You're lucky if you get a bit of a break apart from your lunch break during the day, because you're constant.
I've actually had a patient before while I was nursing, and they said, oh, have you got a bit of a break after this? And I was like, no, we don't get breaks. It's back to back. You get your lunch break. They were like, oh, I thought you'd see a few patients and then have a few breaks. And I'm like, no. Anyway, moving on.
Seeing to people, which is good, but more people need to understand that's how it works. It's not that you see one person, then you've got room, and then you see another person. You are back to back with appointments. This next one is that you, as a dental nurse, you've got to be constantly on the ball. Like, you can't be thinking about anything that's happened outside of work. You can't go off in a little daydream, which I know you can't really do in a job anyway. You have got to be precisely focused on exactly what is happening, what the patient is saying. You've got to concentrate on what's...
That is the worst thing, when a dentist is doing some charting and you're off in a daydream and you've missed what they've just said to you. It is hard to keep on the ball all the time, especially if you've got a day of exactly the same things. It's very easy to kind of go off and wander in your head a little bit, but you need to try as best as absolute possible not to do this, because I have missed a couple of times and have to ask them to repeat it, which isn't professional, and I did have to ask the dentist to repeat it, which wasn't good of me to do. I should have been listening, I should have been on the ball. Anyway, let's carry on and get the last couple of minutes of this video done.
If you've had a lot of emergencies in that day as well, your brain just feels...
One day I had 14 emergencies. It was on a Friday as well. We didn't have lunch. We worked through lunch basically to give us an extra hour. We actually finish at 4:30 on a Friday, but patients, we normally finish around 3 o'clock-ish just so we can do all our surgery stuff. So I worked from 8 in the morning. Obviously that includes setting up the surgery. So seeing patients from 8:30 until 3 o'clock, back to back, no breaks whatsoever, because we just ran through lunch, because we needed that extra time because there were so many emergencies. And we still got people ringing at lunchtime or in the afternoon for an emergency on that Friday afternoon, which was the most frustrating thing. That was the busiest day I've ever had. And by 3 o'clock, I was like, get me food, I'm starving. Yeah, that can be very, very difficult when you have a busy day, especially 14 emergencies. So yeah, we don't have space for 14 people. Obviously, as I've just said, we needed an extra hour in our day, so we just worked through lunch.
Fried from dealing with all of that. Apart from those two, there isn't really that many bad things about the job. It's mainly like the gross things. If you're going practice specific, then that is the only bad things about my job. It's nothing to do with the practice. I love where I work, but I'm sure a lot of dental nurses might not love where they work, and they would have a lot of other bad things to say, but that would be practice specific. This for me isn't. That is the only bad things, or they're not even that bad, but the only cons to my job are those two, apart from the gross stuff. So that is pretty much it for my video.
Okay, so for the most part, that is all still absolutely true for me. I agree with everything I said in that video. So for the most part, that is pretty much all still true for me, as you could obviously tell from what I was saying in that video and in this video. They're all the same still. And like I was saying at the very end there, a lot of things to do with the job are very practice dependent, and since that video, I've obviously made a couple more videos about things I wish I knew or things that I don't like about dentistry. But it's nothing to warrant putting people off or anything like that. They're just my opinions, how I feel about it, and someone else could have a totally different opinion to me. So anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I might do maybe a few more reaction videos on my old videos and see if my opinions are still the same. If that's something you guys would like to see, then please let me know. Anyway, like I've just said, that is it for my video today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button down below, and then click the little bell next to it, and that will notify you when I next upload. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.